Hi, it's me, Ingrid INFP. And I got diagnosed with autism for a half hour ago. Um, yeah, here we are. I'm at work. I don't know what to think. I've been worried about this for weeks, and now here we are. And they said that, well, first she went through everything that we'd, like basically the diagnostic criteria, or like my story socially, and my story in rigid patterns and such. And it seemed like she was checking off all of the criteria from the DSM. And in the end, it didn't surprise me when she said, "This sounds like autism." Then we talked about ADHD, and she said, "No, these things actually are more like you get ADHD-like symptoms with the executive dysfunction and such, but you can have those things with only autism," and that basically I've been burnt out again and again. And I was like, and she said, well, we need to, when you have autism, you do have difficulties with these kinds of executive functions also. So you need tools to be able to use them better. And I was like, my question from before, does that mean that I've been burnt out even as a child? And she was like, yeah, I mean, you can't put the diagnosis burnout on a child, but it was a kind of burnout that I had even as, the earliest burnout I would say would probably be when I was around 12. I definitely had one when I was around 15, and it gives these kind of depressive symptoms, but it's burnout and not depression. They also excluded other psychiatric diagnoses that would explain me getting into burnout all the time. And they said that it was not because of social anxiety or any other kind of psychiatric illness that I have these burnouts all the time. She said that it was because of the way that I've always functioned as an autistic person. She said that I have autism level 1, so things can get better with accommodations, and I can live, a pretty normal life if I get the accommodations. But it's important to figure out what kind of help I would need. So she's going to send it back to the neuro rehab place, and she's going to write like this whole paper, this whole file. Well, she'll send this file to my house, and she'll send it to the neuro rehab. And then I need to call the neuro rehab and book a time to plan out my rehab, I guess, or my treatment, or what you could call this. And she said that in general, it seems like there's this course. It's different in Stockholm, where I did this thing, and here, but sometimes there's like an introduction course to, what you need to think about when you have autism. And then they can give occupational therapy at the neuro rehab. I don't know if that's where I'm going to go, because my GP doctor said that they couldn't really deal with autism and ADHD, occupational therapy, OT, at my GP clinic, because it was too specialized for them. So I'm going to see if I can get occupational therapy at this neuro rehab place, because that's actually the kind of thing that I need. I need therapy as well, like psychotherapy, but what is most important is to figure out a way to get my life a little bit together, and that's where I think an occupational therapist would be the best. She also said that I could get help from my town, the communal, that the town that I'm living in, and see if I can get some kind of, you could say like a kind of a case manager, or not a case manager, but like some kind of a person who just checks up on me to see like how things are going. I don't know what it's called in any other language. It's a boendestödjare. It's a person who just like checks in on you sometimes. That is not a person from your own family or a person that you know. It's like a person that's employed by the city, the council. I don't know if I would need that, but she said that she's going to include it in the report, that she thinks that it might be useful. She said that I also probably should go down in time at my work, but that is difficult to say because I have a work that I often change workplaces, because now I'm going to go to geriatrics, and then I'm going to be going to gynecology, and then I'm going back to this place. So I have to deal with every clinic that I'm at every time. But she said that it's probably a good idea if I go down in time. My residency will be prolonged, but it would be better, because she said that every day at work takes so much energy and out of me that it is easy for me to get burnt out. So that's kind of what we talked about. I'm feeling quite okay right now, but I probably will need to go home soon and just breathe and absorb this information. She asked me if I had any questions and such. I did tell her that I felt physically ill when I was at the doctor, and she said that it was good that I could write to her, because I wrote to her 2 times, like extra information. I wrote emails to her, and that was actually good, because I maybe didn't say all I needed to say in my visits, because my brain was out elsewhere, so when I could sit down and write it down. It's kind of strange, because for a lot of people who do autism assessments, a lot of people that I've seen online, they usually have to fill in a whole questionnaire. I didn't have to fill in any questionnaire. The only questionnaire was like these tests. I didn't have to fill in that questionnaire with like open-ended questions. And my mom, though, had to do that. And guess when my mom sent the questionnaire that she was sent. The questionnaire, first of all, was translated by ChatGPT into English. But my mom had 3 weeks to fill this in. 2 weeks if we count that she was in the US the first week, and I told her to not stress herself out on it. And she did it. She sent it in. The deadline was yesterday at 4 p.m. 16:00, and she sent it in at 15:53, and it was only because I nagged her, and I didn't want to nag. It really stressed me out. All day yesterday I was in a limbo, and I told the psychologist that this was extremely stressful for me, this limbo of not knowing if I would have my results today or another day, because we would have had to move this date had my mom replied after 4 o'clock. So all day yesterday I was like, my brain could not function. And she said, well, that is a little bit of a sign of autistic behavior, that this uncertainty and dislike of change, and wanting things to be planned in advance, was kind of something that I experienced yesterday. So it kind of confirmed the diagnosis for her. She we laughed a little bit, and it was fine. I think that well, she asked me like, how does it feel, and I was like, I don't know. I spent so much time agonizing over it. Now it's like, yeah, it's not really a surprise at this point. I kind of knew that it was going to go like this. I'm feeling very tired. I don't really know what to do, but I'm going to call the neuro rehab if they are open right now. I'm going to wait for this like thick sheet of papers comes to my door, and she said that I'm welcome to contact her, the psychologist at this place, if I have any questions on this well, not certificate, this stack of paper that she's going to send to me, and because right now I'm like in between her and the neuro rehab, because neuro rehab will be getting the papers as well. I don't really know what to think. There have been some commenters who have said things like, oh, well, don't take this all so seriously, because this is, you aren't changed because of this. And I feel that. I'm like, yeah, I haven't changed, and I'm not supposed to change, but it's because I've done so much thought. I put so much thought into it beforehand. So now I've watched hundreds of hours of videos, thousands of hours of videos. I don't know, like a lot of hours, and reading books and researching online. That now I think I can take it more in stride. But who knows? Who knows what happens this evening? I think that it's that sure, I haven't changed just because I got an autism diagnosis, but my perspective on life, on the world, of people, of everything is different, And I don't know if I feel happy or if I feel relief. I think at the moment I just feel relief that this whole thing is done. this whole stage of the journey, this limbo of no, do I know, like, am I not? But now it's more like, what can I do? And I like how there's the YouTube channel, I'm autistic, now what? I really like that YouTube channel, because that's kind of how it is. But I kind of feel hopeful, cautionarily hopeful, because I know that there isn't much help to be had for adults with ADHD or autism. ADHD, there's often people who use medication, but for autism there isn't much treatment, But I think I can navigate things better knowing this now, I now have different problems, because now my problems are like, oh, who am I going to tell? who do I go to? Where can I get help? How should I put up my work? That kind of thing. Knowing that I probably will get burnt out in the future. These kinds of things. So the problems might be slightly different, but I think I can approach it in a different way, and I think that it is a big change. It's a big thing, I guess it's like finding out that, okay, like in Luma Sunshine, where one of the characters, he really wanted to be a pilot, and then he finds out that he's colorblind. And then he's like, oh no, he can't be a pilot, and it's like a big crisis. But so then he had to change his whole perspective on the situation. But he didn't know that he was colorblind until that point, and so you think that there's just something not quite right, and now here's explanation, and she was clear in saying that there is no other explanation for your burnouts that is psychiatric in nature, It all stems back to the autism. And I tend to believe her on that, because I think that is quite true. So yeah, that's all I had to say for today. Thank you for everybody who has followed me through this journey. We're going to keep on going with the videos. My next video is going to be a whole treats that I got myself, because I've gone through this whole thing. I decided to treat myself. I also treated myself to buying myself new working shoes, new working sandals that are like Birkenstock alternative, I guess, that is made for healthcare workers. So yeah, that's how exciting my life is, I guess. But yeah, have a great day, everybody. Bye.